Hello, everybody. Welcome to our September Training Tuesday event for OU Campus. Today's topic is wrangling your users. We'll discuss the different tools administrators have at their disposal for controlling what users can access and edit. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode as the session is being recorded. If you have a question during the presentation, please use the Q&A function found at the bottom of your screen. We will attempt to address your questions during the presentation. After the formal presentation has ended, we will review and answer all remaining questions. Your presenter today is Barbara McQuillan, software trainer. Barbara, I will hand it over to you.
Thanks, Erica. All right, so today we're going to be talking about wrangling your users. So as we jump in, I just want to start by kind of establishing the difference between access, which is what we talked about in last month's Training Tuesday, and configuration, which is really what we're going to be talking about today. So we'll get a comparison of those two, and then I'm going to jump into a bunch of these different settings that you can adjust and change and control inside OU Campus. So when we're talking about access, what we're essentially talking about is who can go where in your site. So you have an academics directory, who's actually allowed to click in there and get into that piece of content. It is determined by assigning groups of users to particular pieces of content, and it applies to lower level users. So your levels 9 and 10 administrators, they're not affected when you're setting these access settings. They can still go everywhere, click on everything. This was the focus of our Training Tuesday last month, and we talked about lots of different things you could set access on. Today, we're going to be talking about configuration, which is essentially talking about how OU Campus operates for both your account and your individual sites. These can be set across different places in your account or site, but generally speaking, you're going to need to be a level 10 administrator to set up most of the things we're going to be talking about. I'll give a call out for the things that a level 9 can set up, but generally speaking, you're going to want to be a level 10 to do these. Finally, an important note, a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about today affect all users inside OU Campus. That is going to include your administrators. So just keep that in the back of your mind as we're going through. When you're setting up these things, restrictions that you're putting in place will apply to your administrators as well. Again, I'll give a call out for anything that will not directly apply to administrators, but there are very few of them. All right, so let's jump straight into a Sandbox environment, and I'll walk you through some of these things today. So here I have my Sandbox environment. Scrolling down to the bottom, my Direct Edit link is this updated date here. I'm going to start here by logging in as myself a level 10 administrator. And just to kind of be able to give us a comparison, I'm actually going to open up an incognito window as well. I'm going to log into that exact same sandbox, but this time I'm going to log in as a lower level user, somewhere around level 6. So anytime inside this incognito window with the black top across it, this is going to be my level 6 individual. So I'll be able to see how this looks for someone who's lower level. Back over to me as my level 10. You'll notice I'm definitely level 10 because I'm able to see the setup menu. A lot of the things we're going to be setting up involve this setup menu, so only level 10s will see this. So let's start by talking about a little bit of the account level settings. So hovering over setup, going to account. The first thing I want to point out to you as I scroll down into my published settings is this page check option here. Page check allows me to establish which particular checks are available when a person goes to click publish. So if I turn them all off, and I'll disable it, go ahead and hit a quick save. We'll take a look at the world as my level 6. Quick refresh. If I hit publish here, notice I don't have any of those check options on it. This is also true for my administrator. So let's make sure we're on the exact same page. My lower level user was on the index page, so I'll be on the exact same page here as an admin. Again, no options here. If we come back in, I can go ahead and turn this page check on for everyone or set it up by the individual administrator, by the users. And then I can turn on individual checks here. Back to the world as my administrator, hitting publish, I'll see all 4 of my checks are now available to me. Same thing here as my lower level user, all 4 checks. So there's no way for me to turn on or off specific checks based upon the user level. So for example, if I didn't want my lower level users to see the W3C validation or the accessibility check, that's not something that I could have turned off for them and turned on for administrators. I would have to have it across the board because it is a platform setting. Back into my page check options here. Keep in mind for your page check, when you're talking about accessibility check, you can set your accessibility guideline here. So I see most schools are adhering to this one, the WCAG 2.0 level AA, but if your particular institution has different requirements, you could choose a different guideline to hold to. You can also adjust which accessibility problems are going to be shown. Known problems are shown by default. Likely and potential, you can turn on or off based upon what your requirements are. All right, so as long as I have some of these page checks going and working, the next thing I can do is force it to run. Hovering over setup, going to sites, and then hovering over the individual site, hovering over edit, and going to site, I now have all my site listings here. So what's happening right now when I hit publish is my checks are here and they're available. I can individually click on them or click the run all at the top, but they're not running automatically. I can set it to do that. So from here, I'm going to scroll down until I get to my section for publish settings, and I have this option of final check. Final check is going to force that check to run. So let's say I have all of my checks turned on, but I want to make sure spelling and link check both automatically run as soon as someone tries to publish. Save in the bottom corner. Back over here with a quick refresh. This will apply both for my administrators. Notice they automatically run. It also applies to my lower level users. They automatically run. So again, across the board, having this final check turned on means those are going to be running. Back to that setting. So I can choose which individual checks I want to run. And I can also decide if I want the publish button available. So right now it's enabled always, which means even if my spelling or my link check fail, I can still publish out the page. If you're finding that you're getting pages that are pushed out there where the checks are showing errors, but people are still just publishing them, you can choose to have this only when certain conditions are met. So I can set it up that the spell check has to pass, and only if the spell check passes will it then allow me to publish it. This is one of the settings that does not apply to administrators. This enabled publish button, it'll always be enabled for administrators. I'll always be able to publish as an admin. This is specifically for your lower level users. So save. So still as my admin, if I try to publish this page, notice my spelling report is still giving me some errors. My link check's looking as it continues to think. So I did have errors in my spelling, but as an administrator, my publish button is still accessible for me here. For a lower level user, again, I hit the publish, spelling and links will automatically run. Notice I have spelling errors, the publish button is grayed out. It is not an option for me to be able to publish right now. So that enable publish is specifically something for your lower level users. This final check though will automatically run. Let me give you a quick set of kind of thoughts and advice on that. If you are just getting yourself set up inside OU Campus and you are still going through UAT, I don't recommend having final check on because you're going to be going through a lot of pages. You're going to be publishing a lot and pushing things through, and it might drive you a little bit crazy as it runs that check every single time. I do recommend making sure that you have this turned on though, if you want to make sure that final check is up and running when your site's about to go live or when you have editors inside the system. All right, we have a question that says, does the publish option show up if potential errors aren't fixed or changed? That's an excellent question. So I want to say for the accessibility, it comes down to our known problems. Let's check. We'll force the accessibility to check. We'll force it to do that enable publish, and now it gives me my option. So I can have it set up so only known problems will be the requirement, or I can have it set up so all problems are going to throw that issue and not allow it to publish. Excellent question.
If I could interject, you can also set up exceptions for accessibility check, so that if, say it's enforced where you have to publish to pass accessibility check, you can also mark out certain exceptions, in which case, even if it fails for those rules, it will still let you publish. And I believe you can also manage those exceptions from the setup menu.
Agreed. Thank you, Erica. Great point.
So, yeah.
From the setup menu, if I go into account, back to that publish settings, down here I have accessibility exceptions. So this allows me to take specific guidelines and essentially put an exception on it. So I'll just kind of randomly see if I can find any of my guidelines here. So let's say this top one here, all required form fields may not be indicated as required. Maybe this particular one has been throwing errors, but based upon our specific design, it's not really an issue for us. We have form fields on there that aren't actually required, so that's okay. In that case, as a level 10 administrator only, I can make an exception. This exception will apply to the guideline. So not any specific page, not any specific site, it's the entire guideline. So everywhere this would potentially come up, it will be considered an exception. An exception requires a reason. So maybe your search bar at the top for some reason is throwing this particular error. I can save it, and now I have an active exception here. So when I run that accessibility check, I essentially get different tabs for my different types of errors. Looks like my exception catches here, so that's perfect. So you end up getting just this additional tab over here that shows the exception. So even though this page is not meeting this particular guideline, because I as an administrator have set it as an exception, this would not keep you from being able to publish the page. It would still allow that publish because it's been considered an exception here. Excellent. All right, so back to setup, back to sites. Hovering over edit, going to site. There's some additional options that we have in here when we're talking about editing. So inside that WYSIWYG editor panel, I have some options for images. So inside any editable region, when I try to go ahead and insert an image, as you guys are probably aware, when I pick my image and I try to just insert it, it's going to tell me a description is required. So this is the default setup we have right now. This is for accessibility purposes. In the event that someone is viewing your website with a screen reader, it's important to have alt text on your images. The description field here will be used to populate that alt text. So by default, we have it set up so that way this field is required. If you have if your site design allows for images that don't require that, you can allow people to use decorative images instead. You can set this for admins only or for all users. I'll go ahead and set it for admins only for now and save. And essentially what this allows you to do is when I have this particular editable region open, I get this additional option for decorative. And if I have this checked, the description is no longer required. So your design may not have this, but if you happen to see this box and you're trying to figure out how to get rid of it, that you're going to find in your site settings. So that's what this decorative is. It allows you to place images on a page that don't require the alt text. If you want to make sure the alt text is always required, back to that site setup, you're going to want to make sure that you leave decorative images set to disabled. Image resizing is another one. So this is not a very good editable region for me to demonstrate this. So let's grab a different page. Here's the library page. So when an image is placed on a page, I do have the ability to go ahead and change the sizing on it. I can do that in a couple of different ways. I have this dimensions option here. These are in pixels. Allows me to resize it right here. It's resizing the display on the page, not the original size of the image itself. That's separate. So when I place it on a page, I can either change it there, or when I click on it, notice I get these little bumpers. I can make it larger or smaller here. So if you do not want your editors to be able to change the sizing on the image, maybe your particular design is super restrictive about the picture has to be this size, and you are super restrictive about any images that are uploaded must be in this size, well, then you don't want someone to be able to resize it like this. In that case, you could check this box here. This will disable the image resizing. So whatever the original size of the image is, that's the size that I've placed on the page. All right, so I have a couple questions here asking, does the decorative image setting make the alt tag null? I believe it actually just leaves that alt tag empty. Let's make this one decorative, so there's no description on it. And we'll just inspect it real quick. Yep, it has my alt tag here, but it's not equal to anything. So there's just nothing that's given as a value for that particular attribute. Perfect. All right, so the last thing that we have here when we're talking about changing images is the image alignment menu. So let's open up that editable region again. This is a great example of an image that's using the alignment. So when we have alignment going on, we're essentially going to be like floating our image. So you'll see this one is floated to the right. It's controlled over here in my Appearance tab. If you don't want your editors to be able to, say, float things or shift them around during the, based upon these different alignment options, you can essentially turn this particular field off. You would do that by just clicking this little checkbox here. It'll remove this particular option, so you won't even have that as the ability to do it. I've seen some schools that, again, according to the design, it's really restrictive about where images go. Maybe you have a specific snippet where you only want images placed in the snippet because it adds a caption or it floats the way you want it to. So you can turn this option off to make sure all of your users, including your admins, are restricted to that. Perfect. We'll go ahead and just set this back as it was before. Next sections inside the site setting that I want to point out to you have to do with file naming and binary file naming conventions. As you guys are probably aware, the way that you name your files and folders inside OU Campus is very important. This is what's used to create the URL on your live site. So if we go back to that live site version, it tells me that the academics folder is where I'll find my library page. So each folder is essentially going to be the name placed here with a slash after it, and it'll continue as many levels as it is until I get to that final page name that'll be used as the end of URL. So it's important when you're constructing your URLs that you stay away from using special characters. Oftentimes browsers use special characters inside URLs for specific reasons. So your queries, like for a search page, may use the question mark. Or the % symbol is sometimes used for encoded characters. So you want to make sure that the characters that you're using when you're naming your pages or even your images have some very specific file naming requirements. For that, you can use the file naming and the binary file naming. This first one, file naming, is specifically for pages inside OU Campus. What you'll essentially do is create a regular expression that allows you to essentially give the system a formula that says these are allowed, anything else is not. Down here where it says regex description, this is the description in plain words that will actually be used as an error message in the event someone tries to create something that doesn't work with this particular regular expression. So let's say, for example, I want to say that my only characters that I'm going to allow are going to be lowercase letters, numbers, and underscores. If you're looking for something more complex than this, and you don't necessarily have a background in regular expressions, our support team's awesome. They'll be able to help you build out one if you do have questions. For this one, this is pretty straightforward. Even I can build this one. I'm going to set a pair of square brackets. This is going to be a singular characters allowance. And I'm going to say A through Z that are lowercase, 0 through 9 that are lowercase, and an underscore. As soon as I click out of this field, I'm going to get an additional one appear down here. This allows me to test that regular expression. So I can make sure that the formula I just put in actually works the way I intended it. So if I put in lowercase letters, we're all looking good. If I put in individual numbers, we're looking good. Underscore is good. Question mark? No, that one's not allowed. Perfect. So we're accepting the characters that we had intended, but watch what happens when I put in more than one character. Now it's kicking out to me. It's because this set of square brackets is only allowing for one instance, one piece of input. To be able to have more than one, I just need to put an asterisk at the end. So now I can have any number of lowercase letters, numbers, underscores, semicolons? Nope. Percentage symbol? Nope. So I can make sure that my regular expression is working the way that I want it to. An important thing to note, especially when we're talking about this file naming, I've included the underscore. And I know there's a little bit of kind of back and forth trying to figure out, should we be doing underscores, should we be doing hyphens? Because of the way OU Campus works, oftentimes, based upon your design requirements, you're going to have these additional files here, these little helper files. So you may have a nav file, you may have a props file. By convention, we always start those with an underscore. So it allows those to kind of get kicked up to the top of the list, make sure that those section or global resources are available. This means that you have to allow that underscore. Otherwise, these helper files won't be able to be made. So just keep that in the back of your head. All right, so I have this all set up. I'll go ahead and hit save. So now, anytime I go to create something new, it's going to adhere to that requirement. So let's say right here at the root of my site, I'm going to go ahead and just try to create a new page. I'm going to skip over all of this nice stuff here, but I'm going to give this a question mark, capital A, a percentage symbol. Let's put in all sorts of things I'm not supposed to have. Perfect. When I hit create, notice the error message at the bottom. And the second sentence, this is exactly what I had typed. Allowed characters are lowercase letters, numbers, and underscores. So what you're telling the system will become the error message. Back to set up sites. Hovering over edit and going back to site. Underneath file naming, I have an option for binary file naming. My binary files are going to be really the uploaded files, your images, your documents, your PowerPoints, your Excel spreadsheets. Any of those files that are not web pages are going to be considered your binaries. So you can have the exact same Regular expression applying here if you should like. Again, as soon as I put it in and click out, I'll be able to test that regular expression. It again also asks for a description. This description is again going to be used as the error message if someone tries to upload something that doesn't fulfill these requirements. You do also have the option, we're talking binary files, to do a exclusion. So right now I'm saying I want these characters. If you have a much shorter list of things that you don't want, you could put those in here and choose this file name must not match. So it's basically, instead of identifying the allowed characters, you're just identifying the excluded characters. So I'm going to leave this as it is right now because these are the characters that I want. And I'll go ahead and hit save. So this is going to apply for uploading things. So again, back out to my site. When I try to upload something, and let's see if I have any images that are not going to be following the appropriate naming conventions. So here's a nice list of images here. Looks like I'm pretty good consistent with that. This one actually may have a space in it though. Let's take a look. It does. This is images space bridge. Let's upload that one. This guy. Notice it's going to tell me it's an invalid file name. When I hover over it, it gives me the option to rename right here, so I don't have to do it on my computer. I can just do it before it gets uploaded into OU Campus. And again, my allowed characters, that is my message right there to my editors. Important thing to be aware of, if I'm renaming any of my uploaded files here, it's important that I keep the file extension. I still need to have that here as part of the list, so don't delete that out. As soon as I make the adjustment, I can click anywhere else inside the box to update the name. I included my underscores, I did. Oh, this is fighting with me because it has the period in it. So there's another thing I need to keep track of. I do need to allow that period so that way I can get this file uploaded. Back to set up sites. Hovering over edit and going to site. Let's go back to my binary file naming. So right now I just have it set up that I'm only allowing A through Z, lowercase, 0 through 9, and underscores. I could just include the period right here inside of it. That would allow me to have that period as part of the file name itself. But you may not want to have the period anywhere else inside that name. We may just want to allow it only for that period before the file extension. So to do that, again, inside square brackets, I'm going to put just the period. So this is going to be the name of it. Any number of characters for the name itself. Then it has to find a period. And then I want to have an allowance for the actual extension. So lowercase e through z. Maybe I don't like those capital letter extensions. Just fix that so it's lowercase. But I want to be really specific here. Your file extensions are usually between 3 and 4 characters long. So I want to restrict it just to that, so I don't end up with periods in the center of any of my image names. To restrict the number of characters that I'm allowing, I'm going to put it into these curly brackets. These are the 2 keys next to the letter P on your keyboard. And I'm going to say I'm going to allow 3 or 4. So now, image bridge dot JPG, that is an acceptable name when I test my regex here. Perfect. Save. Let's do a quick refresh. Let's try uploading that picture again. Again, it has the space, so I'm going to need to rename it. Now it's accepting it. Now I'm able to upload it. And there's my picture. Perfect. Last one that's part of my site setup. Hovering over setup, going to sites, hovering over edit, back into site. Down closer to the bottom, I have a panel for upload limits. This applies to your lower level users only. So this is one of those instances where your administrators, levels 9 and 10, this isn't going to apply to them. But if you have situations where, say, your users are uploading giganto images, and the images are taking forever to load on the pages and it's slowing everything down, you can restrict the size of the images that they're allowed to upload here. Text-based files are literally text. So a TXT, a CSS, an XSL, only text. Image files are going to be here. So those are any of your image extensions. And then any other binary files fit into this category here. That'll include your PDF documents, your .doc, any of those things. You'll notice this is pretty hefty. That kind of harkens back to the day back when our customers were actually uploading videos and audio files into OU Campus. We find most of our schools now are using YouTube or Vimeo to host, and then they're just kind of embedding the videos there. So if you don't have a requirement for this to be this large, you can always shrink it down. Beautiful. All right, so that walks us through all of our site settings. The next thing I want to call out to you, still under setup, is toolbars. So by default, when I'm looking at a page and I open up an editable region, I'm getting this full toolbar here. This is our Just Edit toolbar, and I'm seeing all of the different options here. I have a question saying, how do you avoid users uploading PDFs? We want only levels 9 and 10 to have the ability to upload them. We're going to talk about allowed extensions in just a little bit on this call, so I'll talk about that. But this is going to be a setting that will apply to everyone, not just levels 9 and 10. But I'll show you how you could restrict it. And then as a level 10, you would be able to turn off the restriction to upload PDFs and then turn it back on. Okay, so looking at my toolbar here, there may be specific options here that maybe you don't want everyone to have, like font family. Maybe you have a very specific font family that is associated with your design. You don't want all these choices here. Or maybe you have those individuals who like to turn their pages rainbow by changing the color of text or the background color. Maybe you have people who put videos all over the place and you just don't want videos everywhere. You can create custom toolbars that will allow you to decide exactly which buttons will be available. So hovering over Setup, going to Toolbars, we'll hit +new and we'll create a new one. The toolbar name is something that can be visible to your editors. So do not name this toolbar something like toolbar for the stupid person. They'll see it. You're going to want to give it a generic name that describes what's going on here. So maybe we'll just call this the basic editor toolbar. All of my different options for the different buttons are down here. And again, if I hover over them, it'll give me a little pop-up, let me know what it is. But maybe we want to make this super restrictive. I'm going to turn everything off. And let's see. You can have save, you can have bold, and you can put in pictures. That's it. That's all you're allowed to do. Up at the top, here's the preview of which buttons I'll get. Scrolling down a little bit further, I also have some paste options. You can allow paste all option. This means that people will be able to paste including the format, or you can switch over to paste as plain text only. This will mean anytime things are copied and pasted into that editable region, it will be pasted as plain text. I often see schools use this if they have editors who are maybe editing in another program, and when they bring it over, they bring over some unfortunate formatting. Only caveat on this one is because it's pasting as plain text, if someone tries to paste in a link, it will lose the link. They'll have to relink it using the toolbar. All right, we're going to leave this as paste as all options for now. Bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to click Create. So I have this super shrinky-dink toolbar now. There are two different ways I can assign the toolbar. I can assign it to a person, or I can assign it to a piece of content. So let's say I want to assign it to my little level 6 person. This will mean that regardless of which page they're looking at, their toolbar will always be that restricted one. So to make that assignment, I'm going to hover over Setup, go to Users. I'm going to find that particular user and click on their username to open up their profile. Scrolling down, I have inside my restrictions section, the toolbar option. And I can choose Basic Editor. Save. So now back to the world as our level 6. We'll do a quick refresh. And now opening up the editable region, I get that restricted toolbar. This will be true everywhere. Because I've set this on the person, everywhere they go is going to be that restricted toolbar. I can also assign it to content. Now, you need to be careful about that. If I assign this toolbar to content, it will mean everyone who goes to this piece of content will have this restricted toolbar. And it will mean it is closer in assignment to the content. So it will take precedence over any user level set toolbars. So maybe for this entire admissions folder, I want to set this basic editor toolbar. Hovering over edit, going to access. I'll apply this recursively so I can just show it to you. Scrolling down, I have my toolbar option. I'll switch that to basic editor and hit save. So now inside this section, even though I'm right now logged in as that level 10, I get the little teeny tiny toolbar. This is a configuration of the platform, so it will apply to everyone, including your editors. The creation of toolbars happens inside this setup menu. So in order to get here and create new toolbars, you do need to be a level 10. However, after the toolbars are created, actually assigning it by hovering over edit and going to access, a level 9 has the ability to do that. So your level 9s could help in assigning toolbars to content. They do have access to that. All right, back inside that setup menu, continuing down the list, we have gadgets. Gadgets here are going to be listed on the right-hand side based upon where they're located. So there's some gadgets I can find on my dashboard, some that I'll find on my sidebar, and some that I'll find at both. Now for these gadgets, if I say hover over that My Content and I click on Edit or Access, either way it brings me to the same place. I want to point out to you guys this display option here. This display option is going to take effect for any new users that I'm creating. So from this point forward, anybody who's created new, these will be their default settings. I have 3 options here. Always on will mean that this particular gadget is always going to be on, whether in the dashboard or in that sidebar. It cannot be hidden by the individual editor. Default on means it's on by default, but they can hide it if they want. Default off means it's hidden by default, but they could turn it on if they want. So if there are particular gadgets that you want your editors to always keep an eye on, you can switch it to always on or to default on. So I do recommend the My Checked Out Content gadget as something that is important to have always on. When I open up my gadget sidebar, My Checked Out Content gadget is going to give me a listing of all pieces of content that are currently checked out to me. So if you have editors out there who accidentally pick up additional pieces of content and then they sit on it forever because they haven't gone through and they're not keeping an eye, this is an excellent gadget for them. Me personally, every single time I'm about to log out, my last step is to check the My Checked Out content. From here, each one of these individual paths is actually a link. It'll take me to the page itself. So I can take a look at the page and say, ooh, do I really need this page? And if I realize I don't, from this gadget, I can click the little light bulb and I'll check it in. So it's a nice way to make sure your editors aren't accidentally sitting on lots of pieces of content. Continuing down the list here, we have our templates. Templates are what create those plus new options. So when I hit plus new, I'm currently seeing this set of 8 different templates available to me. From this template option, We already talked about this idea of setting access on individual ones. But what I want to talk to you about today is this idea of a template group. Template groups allow me to take related templates and group them together, so that way I can have specific template types available only in certain sections of my site. So let's go ahead and create a new one. We'll call this the TT Training Tuesday group. And let's say I want to create this group where you can only create new sections. So I don't want any pages hanging out here. I want only sections from this point forward. So a new section, news sections. Anything else? Nope, I think that'll be it. So I'm going to grab these two guys and include them as part of my Training Tuesday group and hit create. Perfect. Now back to content pages, I can assign them. So creating them required access to the setup menu. So again, this has to be done by level 10, but assigning it to specific sections, this I can do as my level 9. So let's pick on that admissions folder a little bit more. So let's say in here, I have enough pages, all of the pages I'm creating are good from here. From this point forward, it has to be sections only. So I want here, when I hit that plus new, to only give me the option of the sections. Back out to the root of my menu, hovering over admissions, hovering over edit, I'm going to go to access. I'll apply this recursively, and under template group, I'm going to choose that TT group that we just created. Bottom right hand corner, save. So now, even as an administrator, when I'm inside admissions and I hit the plus new, those are the only options that I'm going to see. It allows you to restrict what types of pages you're going to be seeing in each section. So if you have, say, a news section and people keep accidentally putting interior pages in it, you can remove that by simply creating a news section template group and assigning that to that particular section of the site. All right, so there's a question a little bit earlier about, well, how do we keep people from uploading certain types of files like PDFs? Hovering over a particular folder or section, hovering over edit, I can go to access. And scrolling down, I have this section called extensions. This allows me to either allow or restrict certain extension types. So I can make sure I'm directing people to place certain types of files in the right location. So right now, this is just the admission section. I probably don't want random images, random documents just dropped at this level. So I'm going to disallow at this level any of my list of extensions. I'm going to set them up as comma separated without any periods or dots in front of them. So no JPGs, no JPEG, no BPM, BPM, something like that. PNGs, docs, docx, PowerPoint, PowerPoint X, PDFs. So I'm not going to allow the upload of any of these guys at this level. Save. Inside here though, I could have a folder that I allowed that to happen. So from here, because I've disallowed everything, when I hit upload, notice, it gives me my listing of blocked extensions. So I'm not allowed to put any of these particular guys here. If I tried to upload it, I would get an error message. So let's grab one. That one's going to, here we go. It tells me right here it's a blocked extension. So I'm not able to upload it here. If, like the question before, I wanted PDFs to be blocked by everyone except my administrators, there's no way for me to put an exception based upon level here. It is a platform configuration. But what I could do is have it blocked generally, and in the instance where my particular administrator needs to upload it, a level 10 would have to come in and remove this particular one. Now I could upload the PDFs and then just come back in and add that restriction back on. All right. Last thing I want to show you guys has to do with your snippets. So hovering over content, going to snippets. When I look at any of my individual snippets, we talked already about this idea of available to. But what I want to call out to you guys is this next one up here, available for all sites. If I have this set to yes, every site inside my account will have access to this particular snippet. There's still going to be certain people who will or won't see it based upon availability, but it is accessible across all my sites. If I wanted to limit it, I could choose no, limit to the selected site, and choose the sites that I want it to be available for. This is an important thing to do if you have multiple sites with different CSS or different designs. If you have snippets that are part of the old site and you just did a redesign, you want to make sure that you're not accidentally grabbing those older snippets, because there's a good chance that the CSS and the XSL won't be available on the new site. So from here, I can limit where this particular snippet will be available and choose the specific sites that I want it to be available for. Bottom right-hand corner, save. And now even as an administrator, I won't see any of those options that are not available on this site if I'm inside an editable region. All right, that essentially runs through all of the things I wanted to show you guys today when we're talking about configuration. I'd like to open it up for any questions. While you guys are typing, I did want to just call out for you. Our next Training Tuesday is going to be held on October 30th. Stay tuned for next month's topic. We'll be blasting that information out across our OCN. We'll also have it listed on our support site.
Hi, yes. Yeah, sorry. Next month's Training Tuesday is going to be October 30th. We are going to be figuring out the next topic. Stay tuned for that. We're hoping to have something pretty exciting. As always, you can visit the OCN or the support site for further details, and the link to the recording of this video will be posted up there as well later today. And I believe we've already had last call for questions, but if there's anything else, this is the last chance to get them in. Okay, well, thank you everybody for attending. We hope you found this Training Tuesday useful, and have a great rest of your day.